Loneliness has almost nothing to do with how many people are around you, and you're not weird for feeling it. 73% of people your age say they feel lonely regularly. Most of them are surrounded by people when it hits. So this isn't a you problem. It's a wiring problem. And once you see how the wiring actually works, you'll never read your own loneliness the same way again. Stick around, because the ending flips everything you've been told about this. Let's kill the biggest myth first. We treat loneliness like a math problem. Not enough friends? Add more. Feeling empty? Download an app, join a club, say yes to everything. More people in, less lonely out. Easy. Except it's flat out wrong. Scientists ran a study where they took people with the exact same social lives, same number of friends, same hangouts, same texts, and one group felt totally fine, while the other felt crushed by loneliness. Same inputs, opposite feeling. So it's not a number. It's a setting. It's not about who's in the room. It's about whether you feel reached in here. You can have 100 people in your phone and still feel like you're stuck behind glass, watching everyone's life happen without you. Which means if just add more people actually worked, you'd be cured by now. You're not, because you've been solving the wrong equation this entire time. So what is it actually? Here's where it gets a little freaky. Loneliness isn't just a feeling. It's a mode your brain flips into. And when it's on, it secretly rewrites how you see everything. Picture your brain in lonely mode as an overprotective bodyguard who's had way too much coffee. Every situation, it scans for danger. Someone takes a few hours to text back, they're done with you. Friend seems a little quiet today, they're sick of you. Nobody laughs at your joke, everyone here thinks you're a freak. None of it's true, but lonely mode serves it up as breaking news. And scientists literally watched this happen in real time. They tracked people through their days and found the lonelier someone felt, the more they read totally normal moments as rejection. A slow reply isn't a slow reply anymore. It's proof. Now here's the trap. If every interaction feels like a little threat, what do? You pull back, cancel plans, leave early, don't text first, which leaves you more alone, which cranks the bodyguard up louder, which makes the next hangout feel even more dangerous. It's a loop that feeds itself. And the evil genius of it is that it feels like you're protecting yourself when you're actually the one digging the hole. The lonelier you get, the worse you get at the one thing that would pull you out. But wait, because the loop just got way more personal. Everything I just said was the loop lying to you about other people. Now here's the part where it turns around and lies about you. Stay stuck in it long enough and your brain starts whispering a second story, that you're the boring one. That you'd be annoying if you texted first, that people only put up with you to be polite, that you, specifically, are unlovable. And a researcher who studied lonely people for years found something genuinely wild here. The loneliest people usually aren't the ones nobody likes. They're the ones with impossible standards, for everyone else and for themselves. They're holding out for the perfect friend group, the perfect moment, the upgraded version of themselves that's finally cool enough to deserve people. So they wait. They turn down what's actually in front of them because it's not the flawless thing in their head. And then they call that loneliness, when it's really just perfectionism wearing a sad little costume. Real talk. That friend who says, OMG, we have to hang out, and then never makes it happen, sometimes that's not them being flaky. It's them waiting until they feel good enough to show up. And be honest, sometimes that person is you. Okay, now I need you to watch out for something, because the internet is about to try and sell you 2 escape routes, and both are traps. Door number 1, it's all on you, fix yourself. Perfect routine, become your own best friend, journal till you're healed. And sure, liking yourself matters, but loneliness is the one thing you literally can't fully fix solo. You can fix your body alone, your sleep, your money, your skills, alone. Connection? Connection needs someone to throw the ball back. Telling a lonely person to just self-care harder is like handing them a ball and saying, great, now play catch. Door number 2 is the spicy one, and it's everywhere right now. It whispers, you're not lonely, you're superior. They left because you're leveling up and they're not. Strong people are alone. Loneliness is the tax on being a titan. And wow, does that feel amazing to hear when you're hurting. It's also pure poison, because that voice takes your worst symptom, pushing everyone away, slaps a crown on it, and calls it power. They're all parasites. You don't need anybody. That's not strength. That's the loop in a cape. And scientists have a blunt name for where that road dead ends: bitterness. You start seeing betrayal everywhere, decide everyone's fake, and slowly rot inside a fortress you built yourself and labeled a kingdom. Two doors. One says it's all your fault. The other says it's everyone else's. Both leave you exactly where you started, just lonelier. Here's something that'll actually make the worst part hurt a little less. When people drift off and you feel that hollow, aching gap, that doesn't always mean you lost something good. Sometimes it just means you're in withdrawal. For years, your brain got tiny feel-good hits every time someone liked your post, replied fast, included you, laughed at your joke. Little dopamine snacks all day long. So when it stops, your brain freaks out the same way it would quitting any habit. That empty feeling isn't proof you're broken. It's your system detoxing off constant approval. It's a come down, not a diagnosis. And on the far side of that come down is something most people never reach: being totally fine alone in a quiet room without lunging for your phone to kill the silence. Which is the real test, by the way. Forget how many friends do you have. The question is, can you sit alone with yourself for 10 minutes and not hate who you're sitting with? If you can't yet, that's not something to be ashamed of. It's just the thing to work on. Because real talk, if you can't stand your own company, no crowd on earth will fix it. You'll be lonely in a stadium. And this isn't just a vibe. Being chronically lonely does real damage. One Surgeon General report said it hits your body about as hard as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So no, this isn't soft stuff. This matters. So what actually breaks the loop? Here's the part I promised would flip everything. Lonely mode tells you, reach out so you feel better. And that's exactly why it keeps failing. Because the second you reach out for your own sake, the bodyguard wakes up. What if they reject you? What if it's awkward? What if you're a burden? The fear gets louder than the loneliness, and you bail. Reach out, panic, retreat. That's the ping pong you've been trapped in for years. So flip the whole thing. Don't reach out to fix your loneliness. Reach out to fix someone else's. Text the person who's gone quiet lately, not because you need them, but because maybe they're drowning in the exact same silence, and maybe you're the one who throws them a line. Here's the magic. When you're actually focused on making someone else feel seen, the bodyguard shuts up. There's no "do they like me" spiral when you're too busy making sure they're okay. You sneak out of your own prison by holding the door open for somebody else. And one last thing, about nostalgia. You know that ache for the past? Old friends, some summer that's gone, a group chat that died years ago? Researchers dug into what we actually miss, and it's almost never our achievements. It's people, being cared for, belonging to something. But here's the twist they found. You're not really missing those exact people. You're missing the version of you that still knew how to let people in. Before the glass, before the bodyguard, before you learned to scan everyone for threat and call it being careful. That version of you didn't die. They're just standing behind a door you quit opening. So open it, not because you're broken and need fixing, not because you're some lonely genius too good for the crowd, but because right now, tonight, someone out there is sitting in the same silence you are, staring at their phone, feeling like a burden, waiting to feel good enough to go first. Don't wait with them. Go first.